Last summer, I built a fence. Well, I'm using I generously. My father-in-law and brother-in-law built a fence, and I helped the best way I could. Now, part of building a fence is sinking these 6-foot posts 3 feet into the ground. And if you had to do that with a shovel, it would take a very long time. It would be physically exhausting, and the project would have taken weeks, not a single weekend. Luckily, my brother-in-law had what's called an auger, a sort of 2-person handheld drill that lets you dig those post holes a lot faster and more accurately. I mention this because when we talk about systems and automations and workflows, we often think about the software side of things. What AI tool are you using? What automatic transcription thing are you using? What edit by text tool are you using to make editing faster? But what we don't talk about is the hardware. And having the right hardware makes your job easier. So today, I want to talk about the simplest recording setup for you as a podcaster. And I want to tell you about my criteria first. 1, it needs to be affordable. I have a lot of equipment that I have gathered and collected over the last 15 years of podcasting. You don't need that today. So number 1 is it needs to be affordable. I am aiming for less than $500. 2, it needs to be simple, which means it should connect directly to your computer. You shouldn't need additional cables or gear to get everything working properly. Not if you are recording a podcast from your computer, from your home, from your hotel room, wherever. And number 3, it should be easy to use. I am aiming for as plug and playable as possible. So with that, what is the simplest solution? Oh, and by the way, I should mention that getting started, you don't necessarily need video. And so I am going to mention a camera, but I'm also going to say, well, you don't really need the camera to get started. So what is the simplest solution? The recording setup that saves solo podcasters the most time? Here we go. Are you ready? It's the Shure MV7+. When you are at home on whatever boom arm. I like the Elgato Wave arms. I've got both the high profile and the low profile. I like them both. That's it for your home recording setup. The Shure MV7+ has USB-C. It plugs directly into your computer. You don't really need to configure it. It sounds great out of the box, but it also comes with software to make it sound even better, adding noise gates and stuff like that, things that you would have to configure in post or on your interface if you have an XLR microphone. Now, I'm not talking about software, but I do want to mention the other part of this, which is a DJI portable microphone. And I mention this because if you want to record on the go, bringing your Shure MV7+ is probably not the best or easiest thing. The DJI portable microphone, I'll have links to both of those in the description for this episode. That is a microphone that can fit in your bag, plugs directly into your phone, or can plug into your computer, and honestly sounds great. I have an audio notes style episode that I do for the Streamline Solopreneur, and I use that microphone and it sounds amazing. So there you go. You've got the Shure MV7+, which comes in somewhere between, let's say $250 and $300. The price often changes here on Amazon as I'm looking at it. And then the DJI wireless mic. There are a few options for those. Several of them clock in at less than $100. If you just need the one, I think it's like 60. So we're looking at around $300. Now, I did mention a camera if you are interested in doing video. I think the best camera is the one you have on you. And so if you're using a laptop, the MacBook cameras, the built-in ones are pretty good. The iPhone has an amazing camera on it. And if you have a Mac and an iPhone, you've got continuity camera, so you can use your iPhone as a webcam. There are other apps like Camo that will let you do this with any computer and camera setup. So that's what I recommend. If you do want a dedicated webcam, the YoloLive, the YoloCam S3 is a fantastic camera. So that camera is about $200 as I'm looking at it right now. So $200 plus the Shure MV7+ coming in at like $250. We're still less than $500, and you have an incredible looking camera with a great video that are both very easy to use. That was the entire point of this episode, is that you don't want a super complicated setup, but you also don't want to get cheap hardware that you're going to have to spend a bunch of time fixing in post, right? I could recommend a $20 microphone, and then maybe you can use Descript's audio fixie thing to fix it. But I usually go, especially with my videos, directly from recording to I do some light editing, but I don't change the audio. I don't edit the audio. That's what I want for you, and you don't need a $500 Shure SM7B, and you don't need a $1,000 RodeCaster Pro, and you don't need that all plugged into a $5,000 computer. The computer's not $5,000, the computer plus the monitor. But point being, for $500, less than $300 if you're just getting the one microphone, you can have a great setup that you're not fighting, so that you can do what you do best, which is record. So that's it for this episode. If you want to get these episodes ad-free, as well as bonus episodes that go into some other topics like monetization and a behind-the-scenes look at how this show comes together, I am offering a membership on Apple Podcasts right now. So if you're an Apple Podcast listener, you can sign up in the Apple Podcast app, and you can get ad-free and bonus episodes of this podcast. Now, if you are not listening in Apple Podcasts, let me know over at streamlinedfeedback.com, because if it's worth it, I will add it to Patreon or something else that is less platform specific. But I use rss.com for this show, and the integration directly with Apple Podcast subscriptions is super easy. And so I decided to just start there. Thanks so much for listening to this episode of The Streamlined Podcaster. And until next time, I hope you find some space in your week.